James Hill, and this is the final project for CSC227. Uh, Part of the project shows the deployment and hosting of a static website using AWS. Start by logging into your AWS console. Here you can find all the options available to you. The project starts calling for creating an EC2 instance as an application server. To do that, you'd simply choose EC2 from the console. At this point, you will launch your instance. Choose your instance type. Here you choose which one you'd prefer. I chose the top listing, which is an Amazon version of Linux. Performance level, you can choose different ones. I just stuck with the free tier. Instance details, more customization options for the instance. Some of these options will increase performance, but they can take you out of the free tier, so I stuck with the defaults. Storage gives you the option to customize storage. Instance has by default a root storage option, which can be customized by size and volume type. I've clicked the add new volume here to show how easy it is to add a elastic block store, which is the EBB there on the screen. Then you choose review and launch. Review your instance launch. It takes you to a screen to review the details. You can click launch from here to create an instance, and it'll ask you if you want to create a key pair. I did here just to show the process. You choose a pair that you've previously made or a new one and give it a name. Then you'll download that to your machine, and after you have it on your machine, you can click launch instances there. It'll take you to the launch status, showing that it's in the process of launching. It'll take a little bit, but you can hit view instances to proceed from there. It takes you to the instance page. You can see that the instance has in fact launched. It is running there. And if you get here before it's finished, it'll say, initializing or something along those lines under instance state. But once it says running, you're good to go. Going on from there, hosting a static website. Site stored in an S3 bucket. So go to the S3 console there on Amazon. It's static, it doesn't need any processing power, which is why you would go for this version as opposed to going straight to hosting on EC2. Continuing along with that, in that process, it takes you to the page where you choose create bucket to host the site. It'll launch a little wizard, basically. This one will be hosted in a bucket that I named hillfinalproject.tk. That's a free domain I registered for the project. The bucket name has to match the name of the website being hosted. And after you enter the proper name, just go ahead and click next there. Continue going through, clicking next through the default options until I got to the review page. At this point, just click create bucket. This takes you to a page showing all the buckets that you've created. You can create another one from there as well if you need. Bucket permissions. At that point, the bucket needs to be configured to host the site. So click the name of the bucket and choose the Properties tab. Then click Static Website Hosting and choose to use the bucket to host a website. The default homepage is index.html, so set that up. And then click Save to finalize changes. I created a simple HTML page to act as the index page for this site. This is the file that I'm uploading to the S3 bucket. While you're still in the bucket, click on my local system to upload to the server to be the home page. After uploading the file, you'll see the bucket and its contents, and here's the bucket showing the only thing in there is the index homepage. And then once again, go into permissions and choose bucket policy. I've inserted a policy here that makes the bucket publicly accessible. After clicking save, the bucket will show as having public access. Route 53 used to assign the custom domain site or to the site in the bucket. So navigate to the Route 53 console and click Get Started under DNS Management there. Create hosted zone. You'll create a zone and enter the information for the domain. After creating the hosted zone, you'll see name servers, which must be entered. They're available on the right side, and you'll use those to plug into your domain service for redirecting the website to when stored on the bucket or the URL. Accessing the site, after you've got all that set in, it took a little bit for it to process, but then I was able to launch the page from there. Part B of the project is to deploy a WordPress blog on a Windows or Linux instance. So you can choose to launch the database from the RDS service of Amazon. It's the same type of deal. You go in to create an instance and choose. I use this shortcut to launch the database using RDS. You could also just go to the RDS console to do that. And it'll take you to this. The nice thing about RDS and really all of AWS is that it kind of walks you through the setup of everything. There's wizards for pretty much everything. So just get started now there. And from here, you select your engine to what the database, what powers the database. I chose MySQL. For a WordPress blog, I selected production Amazon Aurora there. Specify DB details. I mean, you're just going to go through, customize any of the details of the database service, as well as set the storage or size of storage allotted. I stuck with the minimums here to not incur any charges. You're required to enter an instance identifier as well as a master username. I set up the instance identifier as WordPress-Beanstalk, and the username is not WP-admin there. Password, which you'll use to log into WordPress later, so make sure to save that. Advanced settings, more stuff that you can change. I left most of it alone. I did assign the database name EBDB there and noted that the port is 3306, as that'll be needed later. This takes you to the confirmation page after you hit the launch button at the bottom, and you'll see that it's being created. And from here you can hit view DB instances, and it'll take you to that, basically the page for that, the details page for that. And you can see multiple stats of the instance itself. If you keep scrolling down, details has that section where it gives everything you need. The username, the subnets, the VPC, that kind of thing. You can click on the security group there, and you can edit it. You'll need to edit the inbound rules of the security group to allow connections to come into the database as well. So click the edit inbound rules and add the type as the MySQL, and use the source there as the current security group that you're using. So you type in SG and then minus or dash sign, and you'll see suggestions pop up, and choose the one that you're using. From there, after downloading the WordPress files, go in and configure the configuration options with the subnets and security groups that was available on the details page. So there I've plugged in the VPC and the subnets. You'll also go in and change the IP address in the dev file to allow you to install WordPress. And then after that's done, you can create the Elastic Beanstalk environment, which is done with another AWS wizard. And you select the WordPress files that you've configured for upload. And under base configuration, choose a web server and PHP for the platform choice there. And then set any options necessary other than that to create your environment. And this will show the progress window of the Beanstalk environment creating. Took a little bit of time, not as long as the database, but a few minutes. And then you'll get to your Elastic Beanstalk being created. Should be connected to the database, should have the WordPress files uploaded. I had issues here. for some reason, once I uploaded and then tried to launch the WordPress blog, I kept getting a white screen. So I went through multiple closing environments down, starting new ones to see what I could do. Here, I actually tried running the sample application that you're given the option of, and it worked. But then once I went back to WordPress, I ran into problems again. But I ended up getting it to work in the end. So you'll need to go into the configuration tab there previously, and then choose the software tab. And here you can modify the software to enter the information used when you made the RDS, and save and apply those changes, and that will allow you to easily log into the WordPress install once you open it. And at this point, you can technically open the URL in the dashboard to start and finish the WordPress install. There again, I had a lot of problems there. I spent a lot of time, and every time I would open it initially, I would just get a white screen. I ended up installing an older version of WordPress that somehow worked. And I went in and finished setting it up, and here you can see the Amazon IP used to access it, and I set myself up as a user there to verify it. But I'm not sure what the issue was, but somehow I got it working, and there is the final product. And thank you. That's it.